I'm your host, Michaela Russell, and today we're interviewing one of Atlanta's most reputable talent agents, Jason Lockhart. Hi, thank you so much. I'm so happy to interview you.
Thanks, Michaela. It's nice to hear you think I'm reputable. I'm trying so hard for you.
I absolutely think so. Okay, what is the most common misconception about talent agents?
Okay, great first question. I think the biggest misconception is just really like the energy that we have. You know, I think a lot of people think that talent agents are like very strong and very aggressive and go, go, go. And we do. But I can speak for myself that the older I get, the more I'm really trying to utilize time well and put my mouth where the money is. And
Right.
that is not always so like fast, strong, and aggressive, because then you've got blinders on.
Yeah.
So I think actually using a little bit of patience and calmness throughout the day like makes a talent agent a little stronger. So I think that's the main misconception.
Yeah, I think that's a great response because we're all just humans in this industry, creative humans that want to make movies and
Absolutely,
film.
absolutely.
All right, next question. Give me a quick rundown of your daily schedule.
My daily schedule. It definitely starts with feeding two very annoying dogs. And then like a quick workout, because I like try and take care of myself and the family in the house before I start taking care of hundreds of clients. So I get all that out of the way. I'm drinking this thing called Morning Kick, which it has ashwagandha. I don't know, all these weird things in it. I'm trying to stay, like healthy and positive. If I can get all that done before my day starts, then it's great. And then I attack emails that came in overnight and anything that was pressing from late night before. And then just like excitedly like stare at my computer and my phone all day and attack everything as it comes in real time and communicate with my team who I love. And I go through till about like 6-7 o'clock.
Wow.
And then I will kind of like sporadically still work through the evening.
Right.
But I also try to do something again for myself and my family and the dogs and whatnot in the evening, so that my whole day just wasn't work.
Well, that's awesome.
I try to bookend it with personal joy.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to find a good balance. Okay, what does the submission process look like on your end of the industry?
I look at a submission very much like a pizza order. So it'll be, we want this kind of pizza with this kind of crust and these kind of toppings. That'll be like a character description. So like what's the age, what's the ethnicity or open ethnicity, and then any more specifics, which would be like pizza toppings. And then I go through and I see who do we represent that really fits that pizza order perfectly.
Yeah.
Because I want to give the casting director exactly what they asked for. But then I also like to be creative, and so sometimes it'll be like, look, I know they wanted a thin crust veggie, from Domino's or whatever, but this one doesn't have only veggies. It also
You
has...
want to add a hint of uniqueness.
Yeah, some pineapple on there. It's still vegetarian, so it's close to what you asked for.
Yes.
But it's got a little extra pop of flavor. So sometimes we like to submit someone for, an opposite gender or a different age, because we really believe in them and creatively could see them still doing it. But that's kind of how I do the submissions.
That's really cool. I did not know that. Okay, what is your relationship with casting directors, and what is the significance of it?
The significance is incredibly important. I look at casting directors like clients too. We work with them and for them and want to make their jobs easier and better. And at the same time, we have to negotiate with them. But I don't ever want that negotiation to be like against or butting heads. I used to be like that, and it doesn't get you very far. So that relationship is really about like trust and working together. And I'm feeling very fortunate about the Atlanta market and most of the casting directors here, because we've been working together for now 7 years.
Wow.
And a lot of those trusting, honest working relationships have turned into like real friendships. And that's just wonderful too, because then they're helping my life, which helps hundreds of lives that I want to help. So it's really a nice trickle-down effect that starts with honesty and positivity.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. Okay. All right, what is your advice for people who are trying to get an agent? Because there are so many aspiring actors out there. I was once one.
You were. I remember that day. I'll never forget the day I met you. It was wonderful. And you know what you did, and what every actor needs to do, is they need to get the actor's attention. I talk about that in my book. It's not just about getting an agent. You got to get the human being's attention. So how do you do that? I really think the best way is in person somehow. Like in a showcase, in a comedy sketch, and doing stand-up, in a play, at a workshop, at a panel, showcase, anything where the agent's going to be there as a human, not working behind a computer. It's very, very hard. But unfortunately, like 99% of actors are sending cold emails or getting referred, but that's a lot harder to get the attention, I think.
Yeah, you just kind of have to get out there and I mean, the right person will come along, just like how I feel like our relationship is. I feel like it was just meant to be, you know? I absolutely agree with that. Okay, what do actors need on the resume to succeed at finding an agent? Because resumes can be tricky.
Resumes can be tricky, and you know what's interesting is I can look at one immediately and know if they're ready for an agent, or do they need to sit down with someone and like learn how to put the resume together. So I would tell anyone that's considering getting an agent, make sure that you have researched what a professional working actor's resume looks like, and even if you don't have everything that belongs on there or should go on there, you can at least structure it as so like you could put TV film credits and then create your own short films or web series or student films or anything like that. And then you would put like commercials if you've done any, and then definitely at the beginning you put education at the bottom. If I can see that someone hasn't done a lot of TV film work or theater, but they have a lot of education, I know that they are serious about building a career, building the fundamentals of their craft.
Yes, and the skill sets. Yeah, because it's so complicated, because usually people are like, oh, I need an agent to get jobs, but I need a resume to get an agent, but I need jobs to have a resume. It's this endless triangle, you know, so it can be very complicated.
So well said.
Yeah.
I like that you said special skills too, because if an actor doesn't have a ton of credits, but they can ride horses, or they've done stunts, or they're a singer and a dancer, you know, or a pro athlete, like stuff like that can really, really help us move them forward.
Yeah, and that was an advantage with Snow Day, is I've been taking dance lessons for quite some time, and well, I did have to try and figure out how to sing. I've always sang, but I got introduced to lessons and stuff around that time. But those skills are so important for things like that, because I wouldn't have booked that movie musical if I didn't have those skills.
Yeah.
You know, so it gives you a bit of a leg up. Acting is more than just memorizing your lines and performing. I always say that.
It really is, and it's also about beating the competition. And I think Snow Day is a really great example, because you had probably 100,000 actresses that would have loved that role. And I bet there were over 10,000 in the country submitted for it that realistically had a shot because they have an agent. And then of them, how many were seen? Maybe 200 to 300. And then of the 200 to 300, how many were just actresses? But you were actually an actress who could also sing and dance. So then that narrows down, let's say 200 to 50. And of them, how many were really, really strong? 12. And then that gets narrowed down to the top, 3 to 4? And then one person books. So having those extra skill sets pushes you from the 100,000 all the way down to maybe the final 50 or less. You know, just having the skills.
Yeah. So the lesson is experiment and just learn new things. Don't be afraid to learn new things.
Absolutely.
It always comes to your advantage. Okay. All right. What are less obvious qualities that you look for when you are signing someone?
I really look at their personality and their energy. Are they too much? Are they too little? Or are they just right? And I could get into that, and that's probably subjective, but I can feel it, and our whole team can feel it, and we use that verbiage. And we like to work with someone who's confident but not cocky, and who's grounded, and who's in it for the long haul. Someone who's looking for a career as a working actor, who wants to make insurance and do this their whole life and put food on the table for their family. Not someone who's chasing fame and
money.
You know, well, money's great.
Yeah, it's needed, but
long-term money, not quick money. You know?
Exactly.
I'm never looking to sign someone for a year. I'm looking to sign someone for the rest of our lives.
That's a great way to put it.
So I want someone that I want to go through life with on my team. You know, I want to be their friend, their partner, everything. Yeah,
it's a journey.
It's a journey.
Okay. All right. How can aspiring actors achieve their dreams in the U.S. and the UK if they live internationally? And this is kind of complicated, but this is such a big world, and there are actors all around the globe. You know? It's
a great question that I've actually never gotten before. And I think if you want to work in a market that you're unfamiliar with, you should go visit for an extended period of time. So if you live in the UK and you want to audition for stuff in Georgia, I think most people, well, I know from seeing the emails, they just reach out and they want an agent here.
Yeah.
They've never even been here. They just want to kind of leech on the market. They heard there's some good things and they think that they deserve to have them. I think you need to put in more time and more work than that, and more respect for the market that you want to work in. So let's say you don't live in Atlanta and you want to work here. I think you should come here for a month or two, at least. I think you should study at more than one school here. You should learn about this current climate, this market. You should meet people that are working in it. You should learn who the casting directors are. You should learn what's shooting here, learn the terrain, because knowledge is power. And if you're not here, then you're powerless against all the people who are, you know? So that would be my advice if you want to study somewhere else. At least take a long vacation there and study there and try to learn some human beings in the market there as real contacts.
Wow.
Face to face.
That's really, that's an amazing answer. Something that you don't think about often, you know? But yeah, okay. From an agent's perspective, can you tell when people might not be comfortable on camera, and what can they do to feel more authentic? And again, this might be more of an acting coach and a casting director question, but I think it'll still be interesting to hear it from your perspective.
Absolutely, and I've studied acting and directing, so I'm really passionate about this stuff. I think desperation comes across on camera very clearly. So does confidence, and they're very different. But I would say the easiest way to avoid that, instead of just stating the obvious that we can see it, is to put the focus on your reader on tape. Or if you're on set, put the focus on your partner. If the focus is on them, it's not on you. Then we're watching the invisible story that's happening between two humans or a group of people. And that's where the focus should be. Not on the actor who isn't fully believable or in their own mind. If you're in your own head, we can kind of see your thoughts through the camera. But if you're thinking in character, then we're thinking along with you.
Right.
You know, and wondering what's going to happen next.
It captivates you.
It captivates, and you're a captivating actor if we wonder what you're going to do next or what's going to happen to you next.
Yeah, and that makes a story.
That makes a story.
Yeah,
it's a difference between an actor and a storyteller. I keep saying it.
Yeah. What's your advice to actors who feel alone or are struggling with self-esteem? And, you know, I think all actors have been there and done that, especially during the strikes and the pandemic. I mean, especially through the past 5 years, it's been really challenging. So, what's your advice?
Well, if you've worked at all as an actor, I would say be grateful for what you've done and know that it will happen again. You know, I remember Tom Brady saying, and Michael Jordan, after they'd won a championship and a Super Bowl, like, of course they want to win again. And they know they can because they just proved it. If you're an actor and you made it onto a big budget movie or a big budget TV show, you will again. The only thing stepping in your way could be you. You know? So I would say if you are having self-esteem issues, look back at what you've achieved, watch your reel again. If you have an agent, you got into an agency. Think about all of the huge steps that you have above your competition, the levels that you've already made it to, and comfortably enjoy and like relish that you are there at that level and that you deserve to be. And more will come through some of the crap, again, from my book, Patience, Positivity, and Persistence. If you focus on those things, I think your self-esteem will go back up. And if it isn't going back up immediately, put yourself on tape, do some work, get in class,
Get comfortable.
Get comfortable, enjoy life, do things that make you happy. Every day you can wake up and make some new choices. From what you're going to eat for breakfast to how much sun you're going to get. You know, like, make some fun choices.
I love that. How come actors never find out if they make the cut or get a call back? There's so much silence.
I think it's just purely a numbers game. There's only so many minutes in a day. You know, if we have 27 actors auditioning for 3 roles on a show, that's 9 for each role. So we have to send those auditions. You know, our team is sending 27 auditions. And there are days we'll actually, let's use bigger numbers. There are days when we will send 300 auditions. Kelly and Madison from our office, 300. Can you imagine, of those 300, if we were fortunate and lucky enough to book 10%, that's 30. So now there's 270 people. Can you imagine us sending 270 more emails the next day saying, bad news, you didn't get it? Or, hey, heads up, we haven't heard anything. Like, those emails don't generate profits for the company. All they could do is potentially, I guess, it could let the actor down. It's like, it can do numerous bad things. It can disappoint them, or it could start like snowballing into more questions. Do you know why? And then there's back and forth, and now we're losing more time and not making any money off it. It's already gone, it's done, it's in the past. Or it just kind of like feeds their self-esteem. It's like, well, you didn't get it, but you were good anyway. Like that's when the question of feedback comes. It's like,
Yeah.
feedback really just kind of, it can help self-esteem, or it could maybe, like, after like 30 auditions from the same casting director and never booking, maybe they'll have some outside the box feedback that could really help. But the way this industry works is we really only hear the good news, and I think it's because of time, you know, because casting's not going to tell us. So if we have 300 auditions for, let's say, one episode of a TV show, like one episode of Peacemaker season 2, how many auditions did Chase and Tara give to the whole town or the whole country? They can't let 2,000 people know they didn't get it. They just let the people know who did.
Right.
It's just reality. It's unfortunate. My heart goes out to actors.
Right.
But if you know that going in, and you're like, you turn it in, and then you go enjoy your life instead of sit around in this headspace of I have no control over knowing what I know, your life is better.
Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing. I love these answers. Well,
Thanks. I love these questions.
okay, well, is it ever appropriate to ask an agent for feedback? And this is kind of in the same genre.
Right.
Like a feedback on a self-tape.
I think it's okay at the very beginning for one or two, and I think it's okay if it's been a really long time and you've booked with the casting director before or never have, but you've had so many opportunities. But for the most part, you know, again, it really kind of just feeds self-esteem instead of feeds the business. But in those interesting, you know, like rare suggestions I just had, like let's say you've auditioned for Matt Sefik 60 times and never booked, I think he might be willing to say, if they tried this, it might help. So I think in those instances, it's okay to ask. But we want to, again, going back to the earlier question about the relationship with casting, if I asked for everyone all the time, then that would be the basis of my relationship with casting, because we have so many auditions. I'd rather spend the time bonding with them and giving them free time to enjoy their time in between emails and calls, instead of just floodgate them with, now can I get feedback? Because if you do it for one, you kind of got to do it for all.
Yep.
So if we have 300 and we do it for 2, the other 298 actors also deserve feedback.
Yeah.
And now we're going back to the reality of how many minutes do we have in a day, and how sane will we be if we use all of them for stuff that doesn't drive profits.
It's just a business.
It really is.
Yep. And would you say, even managers, because managers work with agents, would you say that it would be appropriate to ask your manager for audition feedback? What's that relationship there?
Because I've never been a manager, I can't fully say what they do and expect. I can only say what I've learned through osmosis and through friendship opinions. I think if you have a manager with a very small client list, then they probably have more time. And I think if you feel comfortable asking your manager, you should. I think that managers can offer a wide variety of help for an actor beyond just getting auditions. And that would be a really great one to, like, kind of get in there with feedback.
Yeah. All right, well, final question.
Okay.
What's one thing you wish more people knew about talent agents?
I can only really say the first thing that came to mind, which is I wish more actors and casting directors, I wish everyone treated us a little bit more like humans. And sometimes it's interesting when I'll look at, like, my DMs on Instagram or on Netflix, or not Netflix, LinkedIn. I don't even use LinkedIn. When I look at my DMs, sometimes it's just amazing how many people that I don't know at all, like, want to have a conversation. And I think if I wasn't a talent agent, none of these people would care about me. And that's kind of sad, the reality of that. And I think, well, this is probably like, you know, you always hear, like, attractive people saying, these people are sliding into my DMs, they want me. As an agent, I oddly feel the same way, so my heart goes out to those people too. But I just wish that people knew that we were human, and I wish that the boundaries of business hours and respect for humanity and for marriage and family and personal time and all that were just held with a little bit higher regard.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of, and it's the most honest thing I can think. And that's not all. There are wonderful people out there who treat me wonderfully and treat every agent I know wonderfully. But I think the masses don't know And so I guess I just had to I had to say
Wow.
my
But that's so true. And again, that's why we're doing this interview, is to get information out to people who might not be aware of those things, you know? And a little moment for the dogs to appear in the video.
Thank you. Zach Morris and Fiona say hello.
Fiona, she gets credit.
Thank you for that.
Again, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. I'm so happy that we got to do this interview. And again, thank you for watching, and I wish you luck on your film journey. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful to be here.
Bye.